Hello everybody, welcome. I'm just going to give it one more minute to allow some more people to join. If you just bear with us, well, one more minute and we'll get started. Thank you. Okay, hello, welcome everybody, and welcome to today's online information session for all those who are interested in applying to the Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters in Aquaculture, Environment and Society, which we now call ACES STAR. It's got quite a long name, so we call it ACES for short, but this year now we have rebranded to ACES STAR. The course is Europe's top-rated aquaculture masters, so welcome along today where you can find out more as to why it's our top-rated aquaculture masters. My name's Pauline Clifford and I am the marketing manager for the ACES programme, and I am based at SAMS, which is right above me here. SAMS, which is a partner of UHI in Scotland. Before we start today, I'm just going to go do some housekeeping, some things to let you know before we start the session today. Today's event is anonymous, so we can't actually see or hear you, but you can ask questions by using the Q&A chat function, which is probably in your top corner somewhere. So if you want to ask a question, just feel free. We're moderating questions throughout the session, which should take no more than an hour. If you don't want your name revealed on any of this, make sure you've joined anonymously so we can't see your name and we won't share your name. And also don't put any personal details on the chat function. This event will be recorded and we will use it for marketing and promotion of the course in the future, and people will also be able to watch it back. If you want to re-watch it again, you can actually just click the link to join the session that you used today, and it will take you to a recording of the event. And so I think that's all for the housekeeping. I hope you can all hear us okay. If you can't, just put a little comment in the Q&A function, but hopefully all is good. And I'm going to start by introducing you to our team that are joining us today. So I'm going to put you on the screen. Liz is first. So we have Professor Elizabeth Cottier-Cook, who is the programme leader for ACES, amongst many other things. And we also have Helen Bury, who is ACES, works on ACES admissions, and basically all things paperwork. Helen is a wealth of knowledge about what you need to know for applying. And we are also delighted to be joined by, Peter Osaigbovo, who is from Nigeria, and he is in our 7th cohort. He's a current ACES student. So he's going to tell us what it's really like. So he is in France at the moment on his 3rd semester, I think, if that's right, 3rd semester on the programme. So that is you'll be hearing from today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by handing over to Liz first, who is just going to give us a bit of an overview about the course first, and then Peter will join later to tell us about his experiences as a student, and then we'll have a general discussion about the programme and see what questions are coming through. So over to you, Liz. I can share your slides as well for you.
Oh, thanks, Pauline. Thank you. Welcome, everyone. It's really great that you're able to join us, and hopefully there'll be many others that will join us a little bit later through the link who couldn't make it at this time. As Pauline said, I'm Professor Liz Cottier-Cook. I'm the programme leader here in Scotland for the ACES STAR programme, and I've been with it from the very beginning, along with Helen. We've come the entire journey, so we've been probably going for around sort of 11, 12 years now. So it's absolutely wonderful, and we're really looking forward to hopefully getting some of you onto the course for the 2023 intake. So I've got a few slides that I'd love to share with you to begin with, just a selection just to give you some of the sort of flavour of the course and some of the requirements and some of the fee structure and things like that. But as Pauline said, just please do type into the Q&A chat at any point and we'll get round. If I don't cover absolutely everything, we're here for as long as it takes, really. I hope no longer than an hour though, to answer any of your questions. We'll see how we get going, how we get on. So right, I'm going to share my screen now. And is that all right, Pauline? Has that come up fine with you? Oh, you're on mute. I can't hear you. So hopefully you're all right with the sharing.
Yes, sorry. Yes,
You can see just fine. Brilliant. Okay, thank you. So yeah, so I just wanted to say a huge welcome to the ACES STAR programme. Don't know how much some of you already know about it, maybe some. We get a lot of people every year that get told about it from friends who've already done the course or colleagues who know someone who's done it. So maybe some of you have already had a bit of a taster through your friends. But really the concept, we offer huge knowledge and training on a really wide variety of topic areas on this course. Really, we try to leave nothing. We try to cover absolutely everything that we can. And if we don't have the in-house skills, then we bring in guest scholars to help us along the way. So we cover a whole range of different species, from cold water, temperate, warm water, finfish, shellfish, macroalgae, that's really popular at the moment. And we talk about different rearing systems, so tank-based, net pen, sea cage, ponds, onshore ponds, recirculating aquaculture systems, a whole range of different rearing systems. But we don't always just cover that. We look at really ensuring that we have a multidisciplinarity approach to what we do. We include not only the technology, but the environmental interactions. We look at ethics, socioeconomics, and all the political aspects as well. So it's quite unusual, I think, for aquaculture degrees and master's degrees to have those extra elements. So I think that's something that really we've heard, with feedback, we heard that sort of really makes our course stand out, that it's a little bit different. But we also offer great hands-on practical experience. You'll hear from Peter a little bit later. He's literally in the lab. I think he's had to duck out of the lab today in France. Lots and lots of practical experience, and also internships and a 6-month research project. So we get you out there and we get you involved with the actual industry itself. It's not just a university-based program. It's all about getting you out to meet your potential next employers. So why this master's? What's so special? Well, I believe it's probably got a greater mobility than most other, or than any other master's aquaculture degree. I think there's one other aquaculture related degree on the Erasmus Mundus catalogue, which probably has similar degrees of mobility, but this one really does allow our students to move around Europe, and we'll cover that a little bit later. And not just Europe, actually, the world. So it provides the students with a real global perspective and cultural awareness. We have relatively small cohorts. Class sizes are no bigger than 25, so we can offer a much more personal approach to teaching. Lots of our lecturers are active researchers. They're not just teachers. We are all, myself included, involved actively in European and international research projects. So we bring that expertise and experience into the lecture theatre. We provide also lots of face-to-face study time, practical experience that I've mentioned, placements with the industry I've mentioned previously. But I think this sort of formation of global networks, you're going to sort of become a member of the ACES alumni, which has now got over 130 students as part of it from 40+ countries. But it's not just the fact that you're meeting up with many different students from all over the world, if you think about it, this particular course that I'll talk more about, you move between 3 to 4 different universities as part of that 2-year course. And at each one of those universities, you're building your networks with new students and new professors and new lecturers. So it really does boost your networking abilities. So going through the partners then, in the first semester, year 1, first semester, you'll come to us here in Scotland and be part of the University of the Highlands and Islands Scottish Association for Marine Science Group. So SAMS is pretty much one of the oldest oceanographic organisations in the world. We deliver international world-class marine research and training in a whole variety of areas, but of course, aquaculture is what we are well known for, being a centre of excellence in that. And we have over 40 years experience studying environmental impacts of the industry in Scotland and throughout the world, as well as some other exciting new species. So that's sort of SAMS in a nutshell. Semester 2, so you'll stay at SAMS from September through to the end of January, and then you will move to warmer climes to the University of Crete, the eastern part of the Mediterranean. In Crete, again, they have many years' experience in supporting international students. It's a bit larger than the University of the Highlands and Islands, around 16,000 undergrads, 2,500 postgrads, and you'll be based in the Department of Biology. There, they work really closely with the Hellenic Centre for Marine Research, where quite a few of our students have ended up doing their dissertation projects. But their biology department is a centre of excellence for fish physiology, endocrinology, behaviour, welfare, all sorts of things, and environmental interactions of Mediterranean species. So really, really fantastic partner and a great base to be in for the sort of February through to the end of August of your second semester. Third semester, first is sort of first part of year 2. Then you move to France, to Nantes University. This is even a bigger university, but it's great. Wonderful department here, the Faculty of Sciences, which have strong links with the government Institute for Exploration of the Sea, IFRAMER. So you're with a really fantastic team there that have a lot of expertise focusing on shellfish biology, physiology, coastal zone management issues, all related to sort of the shellfish aquaculture scene. So it's really quite nice that the 3 partners complement each other quite nicely throughout those first 3 semesters. But as I said, we're also joined for ACES Star by 65 additional institutes worldwide. So these aren't just based in Europe, they are worldwide. And I don't expect you to read through all of these right now, but you can go back to it. But we have, yeah, you can just pick it out. Vietnam, Poland, Caribbean. We have big businesses, Cargill, Maui, Glazel Voldemine, Aquaplan, Niva in Norway. I mean, the list goes on, and all of these associated partners have all expressed an interest to provide guest scholars for us, field trips, placements for your dissertation, internships. So we have a vast calling of these partners that we can go to if any of them are offering anything that you'd like to do. But of course, this is not, you don't have to go to these partners to do your dissertation, for example. We have many students that find their own partners for their dissertation and organise it through a different organisation. So just to let you know, though, that it doesn't just stop at the research. We are super keen on translating our science into policy, and this is where this extra angle for the course comes in. So we work really quite closely together with the United Nations University, and we've had quite a lot of success in actually publishing the work in these sort of policy brief type documents. So it's about making sure that what we do does just not stay within the research papers. It's actually put out there. And we currently, I'm working with the United Nations FAO. I'm helping them write sort of recommendation documents, looking at improving biosecurity in seaweed aquaculture, for example. So many of us professors who are working on the ACES STAR program, we have many connections with some of these international organizations. And again, through these contacts, we can help you build your networks. So just to give you a quick course overview, as I said, semester 1's in Scotland, 2's in Greece, 3's in France, and 4 is pretty much anywhere in the world that you want to go. Some of the courses that we have are core modules. It means you have to take them. Others are optional. So you can choose 1 out of 3, for example, when you are here in Scotland. I don't think there's anything, just to sort of say, and I think Peter will sort of highlight this as well, or emphasize this, is that you move together. So for the first 3 semesters, you all move as one cohort. When it comes to the research project, then you go off in different directions. But I think it's quite nice because you're all together and you support each other on that journey, and you form a much stronger bond, I think, than many other sort of Erasmus Mundus courses where everyone's off in different directions throughout the entire 2 years. So that's the course overview. Just to let you know as well, we have a sort of extra special module, which I quite like. So I help deliver these face-to-face skills. And it's actually a joint module between ourselves and the University of Crete. And it's called Professional and Entrepreneurial Skills, because we actually recognise that around 50% of our students go on into industry, 50% stay on in research and go into a PhD, but the other 50%, they either start up their own businesses, which is really exciting to see, or they want to go into business. So this entrepreneurial skills and professional skills we find is really popular. And I give face-to-face skill development sessions in semester 1. We have a 1-day hosted webinar or face-to-face event at our local outreach centre. We go into all sorts of things. And then in the second semester, you now get a 3-month internship with an associated partner, usually in Greece, but some students go elsewhere in Europe. So that's really invaluable, and the students really love that. Right, on to the other aspects of the course. So we've got tuition fees here, which you can see. So that's €5,000 for international students and non-EU students per academic year, or €2,500 for EU UK students. Sorry, that's per academic year as well. It covers enrolment fees, tuition examination fees, library, resources, electronic, as you can see, admin costs and all of that. So those are the sort of general, that's the tuition fees for the course. We're also at the moment promoting our Erasmus Mundus scholarships. So we have, you may have seen from the website, we've been very successful in getting another, I think it was 81 scholarships funded for the next, over the next sort of 4 intakes. So it's wonderful to have this option to give out these scholarships, and Peter was a very lucky recipient of those. So these scholarships, they cover the tuition fees, cover travel, medical insurance, and they give you also a stipend of €1,400 a month for the entirety of the programme to assist with travel, visa, installation and subsistence costs. So they're very popular, and we'll go on to deadlines a little bit later for applying for those. So also, I really want to emphasize that we are trying and striving to be as inclusive as possible on this program. So if you are a student with any form of disability and you need any special items or services bought for you to allow you to do this course, then there is up to €60,000 available for you to apply for. And I really do encourage you, if you just think, oh gosh, or you think, oh, I know someone who but the travel or something, they just won't be able to study this program. Well, please do inquire, because as I say, we have this funding available. And during the application process, I think that's probably the best time to get in touch with us to let us know, and we can have a discussion on how best we can help you. So please, we want it to be as inclusive as possible. So please do get in touch. On to requirements. So really a bachelor's degree or equivalent in one of these fields. Depending on the country you come from, sometimes it's a bachelor's degree and a master's. So we have to go through this check. So again, inquire with us if you think you may or may not have the correct level of undergraduate degree. But on the whole, a bachelor's degree is fine. Usually, you know, what we're looking for are people who have got maybe A, you know, to getting through to the scholarship. If you've got A to C in your subjects at undergraduate level, then apply. You don't have to have all straight A's in absolutely everything to get through to the interview stage. We're looking at more than just your grades. We're looking at the experience you have as well in the aquaculture field. So please do apply. We're also after a minimum level of English, and we usually have used in the past the IELTS system or something equivalent. So you need around 6.5, a minimum of 6 in all of those 4 components that you get tested on in that. So again, but if you have any questions, just contact us. Visit the website. We've got the website there. At the top of the website is an apply tab. Click on that, and then it will give you all the information you need. There's an application form that you need to complete and a number of supporting documents here that you'll need to submit all together to this this email address here. Simple, promise you. Okay, now on to the deadlines. So we've got Erasmus Mundus scholarship deadlines coming up the 27th of February. After that deadline, we then have interviews between the 27th and 29th of March, and our final selection panel meets on the 31st of March. So pretty much early April, we'll be able to tell you whether you've got an Erasmus Mundus scholarship. And we have a reserve list as well. So if some people drop out for some reason, then it may well be that you're able to move up to the main list. All other scholarships, and we have a number of other scholarships from an organisation called SAKE each year, Scottish Aquaculture Innovation Centre, and other non-scholarship applicants. We'll be delighted to hear from you, and the closing date is the 4th of August next year, with the aim to have the term starting on the 4th of September. So really, really, really wonderful if we can see some of you next year. So I think I'm nearly on my last slide. I know it's not aquaculture related, but I just love this saying, life is like a mountain, hard to climb, but worth the amazing view from the top. The ACES program is not your straightforward masters where you go to just one university and stay there. You know, you have challenges, but you're as a cohort and you help each other, and we're here to help you. And just to leave you with that final quote by one of our previous ACES students, this is no ordinary masters. This course is a life-changing experience. And I have heard that so many times from so many students throughout the last sort of 8 cohorts. It really is something else. So I really am, hoping that this has tempted you, some of you, into applying, and we're here to answer any of your questions. And I'm going to stop sharing now and pass over to Peter. Thank you all so much. Okay.
Thank you, Liz. Thank you very much for that. That's absolutely so interesting to hear, and I'm always blown away by how many industry partners you work with whenever I see that list of names. And even really interesting to see that some go on to start their own businesses as well. That is really, really interesting. So thank you so much, Liz, for that, for all that information. So yeah, I'm going to hand over to Peter now, who will give us the lowdown from the students' perspective. And lots of lovely photos are about to come your way, everyone. So I'll hand over to Peter. Thanks, Peter.
Thank you, Pauline. To share my screen now.
Yeah, if you share your slides, and I'll try and get them up. That looks good to me.
Can you see my screen?
Good to me. Yep.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Peter Osaigbovo. I am from Nigeria, and I'm currently in my third semester here at university. So I'm part of the cohort 7 of the ACES program, and I'm also the program representative for Erasmus Mundus Association. So I will be sharing my experience as a student on this program, and for me, it's been a combination of study, beautiful friendships, fun, and food. And so the outline of my presentation, I would be showing you how diverse colleagues I work with, what kind of studies I do here, what kind of student support we get, and of course, fun, food, and professional organizations. And so at the moment, we have 21 people as part of my class group. We are from 5 continents, literally everywhere in the world, and from 18 different countries. So that's amazing. And this is such a diverse and multicultural group. We have people from India, we have people from Colombia, Peru, myself from Nigeria. So it's a really, really diverse group. And it was really interesting to me because at the time I came for this program, I had never left Nigeria before. So it was an amazing experience. And as part of this program, we have a lot of lectures, as Liz has mentioned. We have lectures from people who are experts in the field, and we get guest scholars from areas where we don't have the expertise. And sometimes this comes with doing a lot of lab work. And these are just a couple of pictures of me doing different lab work. If you see down here, you see me holding, we're doing a taste panel for fish. So we're looking at fish quality in Greece. And to your top right, and that's me with myself and my colleagues with the professor, where I was, trying oysters for the first time. So you don't just get to study, you get to do some new things also. And so yeah, this is me trying oysters for the first time, and I like oysters, by the way. So not everybody loved it, but I loved it. And we also, as part of the course, we do a lot of field trips. Here in France, we've been able to go to a mussel farm. We've been able to visit oyster farms. And then we also do a lot of environmental sampling. And so to your bottom left, that's me and my group members stuck in the mud, trying to sample seagrass for an environmental project. And so there's, just like Liz mentioned, there's a lot of collaboration with the industry. And so we get to not just, be loaded with theory in classes, we get to do practicals and then go to the field to see, how these things are actually working and build that network with the industry. Then this is also in France when we visited the White Oyster Reef at Bonof Bay. It's one of the largest oyster producing areas here in France. So it's so much fun, being able to do this and not just, study and look at notes without understanding what's out there in the field. And Liz had mentioned that as part of this program, there's a 3-month internship. And for me, this was one of the key reasons why I had applied for the program, because before I came for the program, I was working in the industry. I am mostly in industry focused. So, being able to, break away from my background, which was in freshwater aquaculture, to learn and, do hands-on in marine aquaculture was something I was, looking forward to. And I had the opportunity to do my internship with Abrama. By the way, Abrama is the largest fish producer in the Mediterranean, and you can see me working with sea bass juveniles here. It was a most amazing experience. And also, some of the benefits you get as being part of a student is that you have access to professional associations and networks that you could leverage on if you want to. And so in this slide here shows myself and 3 other colleagues who attended a conference in Italy. So this is just some of the things that you could get, and I've been able to leverage on as part of the experience. And there's so many additional benefits too. There's so many additional benefits too. Sorry for if you hear some background noise. I'm currently in the lab, so yeah, you might get some distractions there and there. But yeah, just as I was saying, so this is a colleague of mine from Indonesia who was able to get full funding to attend the summer school in Romania. And these are some of the things you could get, by being on the ACES program, because it's so well known. And here in Europe, there are a lot of training and learning opportunities for students that you could leverage on. And he was fortunate enough to be selected for the summer school, and he learned a lot. So broadening his horizons more than what he could get from the program. And I'd like to quickly talk about the kind of support that exists for students. And just like Liz had mentioned, Helen is part of this call now, and she's a go-to person for visa and travel information. This program has been running this is the 8th cohort, so they have quite a wide range of knowledge and with visas and travel information, because they've welcomed students from over 40 countries. It's a bit tough sometimes because I came in when COVID was still pretty serious, and we had a bit of an issues with visas, and the rules kept changing, so it was hard to keep up with. But you would get all the support you can get in terms of information and documentation that you need to apply for your visa. And also one approach I liked, which is not something I had experienced back home, is the idea of getting a personal academic tutor. So when I got on the program, I was assigned to a professor who I could reach out to, at will anytime I have academic issues, and I could draw from my experience, to understand how to do my academics better. And in all the partner institutions, you have career support services. So what this means is you have professionals who are paid by the institution to provide CV reviews, cover letter reviews for you. Basically all the information that you need to search for a job can be provided for you. And this is something that I have really leveraged on from our partners in the UK. I focus more on the partners in the UK because I speak English, so it's not very useful for me in getting the service from the partners in France, for example. But if for example you are more confident, you are from France or you speak French, and you'd rather have this in French, then you've got partners in France who can sort this out for you. And also there's a huge student participation in this program. I was student representative for a year, and I could actually make a lot of inputs, taking on board the advice from my colleagues, to try to improve the quality of the program, so that we have regular surveys after each semester to try to get an idea as to what's the student experience like, how can you make the program better. And so this program takes on board everything that the students have to say, and try to see how to make the program better. And so these are just pictures of us having fun. I say travel is a huge form of education, and beyond the study, being able to go visit different countries, meet people is one of the best ways you can educate yourself. And so this is myself and some of my colleagues in Auburn having fun. And this was when we just arrived in Greece. It was the first time we were, being together as a group, because we had most of our first semester online because of COVID. So we were really so excited to finally, meet everyone in person and not just over Zoom calls. And also in Greece is an amazing place to be, with the mountains and the sea. We had lots of trips, going to see the beach, and yeah, more fun times in Greece. And I wouldn't give my experience without mentioning food, because food is such a big part for me, where I come from. And Greece is an amazing place for you to eat good food and that is affordable. And you can see that myself and my colleagues, we did go out quite a lot, to have food together, just like a family. And I think this is an amazing experience. And yeah, everywhere you go, there's so much fun to be done. In Nantes, it's an amazing city, vibrant student city, and the 6th largest city in France. So yes, you just don't get good study experience, but you also have a good student experience. And as I would say, you make friends for life, because having access to 18 different people from 18 different countries, I couldn't even dream of this 2 years ago. That's amazing. And I will end my presentation quickly with some professional associations that when you come on board, that you can leverage on. You have the wider Erasmus student network in all of these partner institutions, so you can actually get in touch with students who are on the Erasmus program from every part of the world. And also the European Aquaculture Society is also a very professional association here in Europe that you can be a part of as a student, and it's for free, and you can benefit from all the programs they have to offer. And if you want to connect with ACES, these are all our social media handles, and we're active everywhere. So just find one which is more convenient for you, and stay in touch for the information that we'll be providing in the coming weeks. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Peter. That was absolutely brilliant. And it's so nice to see like pictures from you being all over, because when we're based in Scotland, we only really see the Scotland thing that's going on. So it's always really nice to see where you go on to after Scotland and all the things you get up to. So really delighted that you could join us and share your experience, as opposed to us, we're talking more the sort of facts about the course. So you've got the sort of more authentic experience. So but it just looks fantastic. Can I apply, Liz? I want to do this programme.
The number of people who ask me whether they can apply, the number of lecturers who say, if only these courses were around when we were younger, oh, it would be so good. Yeah. Everyone I speak to says, I want to do this course.
Yeah, anyway. It just seems so, it seems fantastic. And yeah, I like the idea of going to Greece. That sounds nice and warm, as opposed to very cold Scotland right now. So I don't have any questions at the moment that have been coming in. So I've got some questions here that maybe we could, just have a chat about, or some topics that we can maybe elaborate on. One thing that I wondered if we need to talk a bit more about is the dissertation year. I think you had mentioned it in your presentation, Liz, that you can kind of go anywhere in the world, but I don't know if maybe you can, either yourself or Helen can elaborate on how that works. How do they make a choice, and can they go anywhere, or is it specific places? I don't know if you've got anything to add to that, Liz, or if I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah, it's interesting actually, because Peter's cohort's right in the middle of choosing where they're going to study for their final semester next year, and so really we, as across the team, across all the three core institutes, we come up with ideas with research partners. So I'm just thinking there's 2 or 3 projects from SAMS that we put in, but the students, it's in conjunction with partners in Norway. So the students would have the opportunity to go and live in Norway for 6 months. So it doesn't have to be back here in Scotland. But so between the 3 partners, I think this year we put together something like 24 research projects that the students can have a read through, and if they like them, then absolutely fine, they speak to the supervisors and they can choose a particular project. That's fine, and then they can go ahead and start that. But the one thing that I always encourage the students from day one is that as they're going through the course, if there's a particular topic or a professor that they're just like, wow, this is amazing, this is like the kind of thing that I'd like to study for my dissertation, I'm always encouraging the students just approach that professor after the lecture and keep in touch with them as you go through the course, and say to them, look, this is a subject that I'm really interested in. Is it possible for us to together to develop a project? But it doesn't have to, you don't have to remain within the 3 core project partners. And again, I think Peter will be able to tell you, because Peter's gone off and found himself, Peter, I think it's you, isn't it, that gone off and found yourself a project in the Netherlands. So, so we absolutely encourage the students to go off and find their own projects and find their partners. And it doesn't have to be a partner from the associated, from the long list that I showed you. We've had many students, head off to Brazil, head off to China, head off to Vietnam, wherever you would like to go. The only one restriction is if you're on an Erasmus Mundus scholarship, you can't leave Europe for more than 3 months without losing your monthly stipend. But that's fine. Students can go abroad for 3 months, collect their data, come back to one of the partners in Europe and write it up, and still be in touch, but on, over Teams or what have you. So there's a ways and means of getting around it. So maybe Peter will jump in with his experience of finding his dissertation.
Yeah, I think it's just like you've said, Lee. In my own case, I'm going back to Greece, but I did have offers. I had an offer to do my internship with a company because I like industry-based research. So I had an offer to do my project with a company in the Netherlands, and then also another offer to do it with the company where I had my internship in Greece. And so I decided to go back to Greece. So yeah, it's actually it's the options are limitless. I would say it just depends on what you're interested in and how much you can network and just like Lee said, you don't be scared to build the connections from day one. My project wasn't something the company was looking to do, but it was something that was designed by myself and my supervisor. So yes, you can do literally anything you want to do, provided it's related to aquaculture.
Yeah, as long as it's related to aquaculture, and sometimes it's quite tenuously linked to aquaculture, but it's fine. And just to point out, it's really lovely as well because in the fourth semester, everyone sort of goes off to their respective partners to do their dissertation project, but we always come back together. We always come back together for this annual student conference that's hosted every July. So it's like a big reunion. It's like a family reunion, and I always make sure that I'm there in person. Obviously not during COVID, and we had it online, but this year we were in the Netherlands, and we rotate it around partners. So this year we were in the Netherlands. Next year, so with Peter's year, we'll be in Crete. So we'll be back to Heraklion, back to the University of Crete, and it's just such a party atmosphere. Once we get the talks and the presentations out the way, because they're marked, they're part of that final mark. Once we get those out the way, then everyone relaxes and we enter the party spirit at the end of the course. So yeah, so that's the dissertation phase, I think. Yeah.
I think that's some really, really good advice in there about if you are interested in one of the topics to actually, speak to your professor and things. And I think that sounds like really good advice from both of you. Thanks, Peter, as well, for filling us in on your plans as well. I've got a question here come through. How exciting. So we have a question here. Can I apply? So this is quite good questions about, different for entry requirements. And what is eligible. So somebody's asking here, can I apply if I studied animal production and technology as a bachelor's degree? So animal production and technology. I don't know if you have any
to
add on that.
Yeah, so the main thing for us is when we're looking through the application forms is whether within that degree, whether any of the modules within the degree were aquaculture related. So maybe, it was just animal production, but maybe they did fish production or shrimp production or something within that overarching degree, because we've had quite a few vets apply over the years and we've accepted them. And, they've studied pigs and cows and things like that, but within their veterinary degree, they've also done fish veterinary, fish, and to do with, I suppose it would do generally fish. And then they've maybe gone on and done a dissertation to do with fish immunology or fish parasitology or something. So, and they've maybe gone out and got a little bit of extra experience working with fish vets in the industry. So even though they've done quite a broad, what you would initially think was, oh gosh, vets, you think immediately of terrestrial animals. Well, when you read more into their CV, you think, oh no, actually, yeah, we'll invite them to interview and we'll go from there. So absolutely, if you've got a little bit of aquaculture, or marine background, then apply.
So yeah, I think that's really interesting. And would the advice then be if to maybe get in touch with ACES first to maybe just discuss that and so you can drill down a wee bit more before they apply? Would that be?
Yeah, maybe get in touch and send the CV. Get in touch with the CV or with a transcript so we can see exactly which modules they've done as part of the degree. Yeah,
sure.
Great question. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for that question. That is great. There's another one about English. Is there any form of English test waiver? For example, if my undergrad was in English, I'm not sure if anyone of the panel can feedback on that.
I think Helen can provide a good answer to that.
Yeah. Hello there. Yeah, I was actually just going to write a message back, but it's probably best if I talk then. It does depend. Talking about English language qualifications generally, it does depend on where you are from. If you are from what we regard as a majority English-speaking country, or you've studied your undergraduate degree at a majority in a university in a majority English-speaking country, for example, Canada, Australia, America, obviously the UK, a lot of Caribbean countries, then you wouldn't need an English language qualification. Certain countries are recognised by the UKVI as being majority English-speaking countries. But if you say from other countries, such as, I don't know, African countries or China or, for example, or other South American countries, but you have studied your degree in English, we might still want some kind of certificate saying that they are of an equivalent to an English language certificate. The rules are relaxing a little bit. We used to want an IELTS test strictly in the past, but we are able to also accept other English language qualifications that we can verify online, like, for example, teaching English as a foreign language. There's also the common European framework as well. We do look at those individually on a case-by-case basis. So there are some hard and fast rules, but there are others instances where we'd need to look at your background, your qualifications in a bit more detail. The standard for us is IELTS. That's always been a good qualification. The University of Highlands and Islands have always said that this is a qualification that is carried out in secure conditions. It does provide a minimum standard, a good standard as well, so that we can be confident that you've got a good command of English language, both verbal and written forms, when you come to study with us at SAMS. So I would say have a look at, in fact, I'll send you a link now to the webpage of our University of Highlands and Islands English language requirements. And if you've got any further queries, then just drop me a line, write to me at the ACES email address that Liz gave you earlier. So I hope that's helped in answering that question there. And I wasn't being too technical at the beginning, going on about majority English-speaking countries, but it does make a difference where you're from and where you've studied, and whether or not you studied your undergraduate degree in English. Okay.
Thanks, Helen. Thank you.
Yeah,
we've got quite a few questions coming through now, which is lovely. Thanks everyone for asking questions. The next, this is a good one, is how do you choose Erasmus scholars? So what's the criteria for applying for your Erasmus scholarship for this programme?
Oh, for Erasmus scholarships, not guest scholar. No, Erasmus scholarships. Yeah. It's on the website as well. It's sort of a four-tier process. So it's I think academic excellence is one thing that we score on when we look through everyone's supporting documents. So academic excellence, English language proficiencies in there, motivation. Why do you really want to come on and do the ACES program? What's motivating you to apply? And the final one is the quality of the references. So really, everyone, please, I think we asked for one professional reference, but from someone who really knows you and can really vouch for you. So the quality of that reference is really important as well. So those are the 4 criteria that we judge when it comes to selecting who's to go forward to interview.
Yep. Thank you, Liz. Thank you. I've also got a question here for Peter. You're going to be put on the spot with this one. Peter, is the program quite intensive? Is it quite intensive, and how do you achieve a balance between your studies and also having fun and traveling? If you've got any advice.
Yeah, I think the way the program is structured in itself has balance, you know. I mean, as opposed to some programs where you do it's a master's degree, so I would have to quickly say that. So it's meant to be intensive, yes. And because you cover quite a lot, aquaculture is so big, and if you're gonna cover finfish and you're gonna try to cover shellfish and also aquatic plants, then there's a lot that needs to be done. But trust me, there's enough time to have fun. If you saw I could literally put 100 slides of pictures of me having fun with my colleagues. And this has not taken away from my study experience. So there's a little bit of time management you have to do on your own end, balancing your time properly. You don't have classes during weekends. What do you do on weekends? Are you going to go for a trip? Are you going to travel to somewhere else? So it depends on how well you manage your time. But the program has their breaks. So for example, this week is my last week of lectures for the year. So I've got like a full 2 to 3 weeks Christmas break. So if I want to go home, if I want to travel anywhere, I could travel. If I have projects or assignments I need to do. So it's just all about scheduling. But yeah, the program is structured in a way that you get that balance. And then how well you utilize that depends on how you can manage your time.
Thanks, Peter. That's brilliant. Thank you. Enjoy your time off. I'm sure you've earned it. The next one was how or who should the reference letter be addressed to? Maybe Helen.
Hello. I would ask referees to address the letter to the ACES academic team.
Okay.
And at the email address, if letters, reference letters, could be sent to us via the ACES email that Liz highlighted earlier, we usually get academics addressing them, or other referees addressing them to ACES academic team or Professor Liz. Yeah, that should be fine.
Great, thank you. There's another question here that says, hi, I finished my bachelor degree in aquatic resources technology in 2017. Now it's 2022. Am I eligible to apply for this course? Is there a time limit on when you got your degree?
Not at all. No, not at all. We've had many mature students come through the course. Many have gone off. They've finished their undergraduate degree. They've gone to work in the industry. They've maybe done a bit of teaching, and they've just had that break. And as long as you can demonstrate that you have, actively sought out and gained experience within the industry between leaving as an undergraduate and coming back as a graduate, then or coming back and starting this degree, then that's absolutely fine. I mean, we've had other people, working in the industry, doing other master's programs. We've had people who've done PhD programs, which can be 3 or 4 years, coming back, a whole variety of people. But it's wonderful because they bring such experience back into the learning environment. So yeah, absolutely. There's no time frame, there's no time limit between when you finished your undergraduate. It's just being able to prove that you've been working in an aquaculture related job, or still carrying on that interest in that intervening period.
Thanks, Liz. And there's another question about degree. So I think this person they're just currently doing their degree, so they've not finished it yet. So how do I evidence my degree if I've not yet finished it?
Well, that might be a good question for Helen.
Hello, sorry, I was on mute then. What we ask applicants to do in those circumstances is to send us what academic transcripts they have available. so covering the academic years they've already completed. So yes, yeah, if anybody in that situation could forward transcripts covering the years they've already completed. Sometimes also letters as well from the university confirming that they're undertaking this degree and that they're going to be completing it by such and such a date, usually the summer just before starting the course. But in those circumstances, we still also need to see the transcripts as well, so that we can sort of have a picture of how well you've performed in the academic years you have completed.
Thanks, Helen. Thank you. And if they've already done a master's degree, there's someone here that said, can I apply if I have studied for my master's degree before in the aquaculture field?
Yeah, absolutely. As long as they haven't done another Erasmus Mundus master's degree, they're not allowed to apply, just keep applying for more and more Erasmus Mundus degrees. But if they've done a previous master's degree or PhD, you know, yeah, absolutely fine to apply. Great.
And there was another one here which was similar about applying if you're a final year student. Sorry, there's quite a few questions now. They're all frantically getting in the last 4 minutes, I think. If I don't have work experience in the aquaculture industry, will my professional reference still be relevant? Which I think maybe you potentially just touched on, Liz.
Yeah, we've had many students have come straight out of undergraduate degrees without specific aquaculture experience in the industry. It's fine. As long as they've got modules within their degree that are relevant. Like we've had quite a few people, say from Kerala University, who have done the fisheries and aquatic sciences degree, I think, and they do a lot of modules that are related to the aquaculture industry, and a number of them have got onto the course.
Great, thank you. Okay, so there's one here about the IELTS certificate. Can we pass the IELTS certificate if we are
IELTS, the IELTS certificate, yeah.
IELTS certificate if we are announced as the receiver of the Erasmus scholarship? It is because the test is quite expensive here in our country. I don't know if you've got any comments on that for anybody.
Yes, that's perfectly fine. We say to students, yes, if you're selected and your application's successful, then any offer that we do make to you will be conditional until you've got an English language qualification. But it's always helpful to have that qualification, even if you aren't selected, you know, in terms of applying for other courses. And so I'd always say to people, still take it if you can.
Great. Thank you, Helen. And I think this is maybe a good one to end on, although we don't have much time for it, and it's probably quite a lengthy topic to discuss, which is about accommodation. So how do we find housing at the 3 different universities? Even if we can maybe talk about, for the last couple of minutes, what sort of support there is to help people find accommodation.
Yeah, yes, yeah, we were certainly available to give advice and support to help students find accommodation in Oban. We're not able to provide accommodation directly by SAMS, but we'll give you every support and help to find you something to rent privately in the Oban area during the summer. June, July and August will be putting you in contact with private landlords, letting agents. We also have the homestay scheme as well. So if there is anybody who's willing to rent out like a room or annex in their own home, that's proved popular as well. And various other contacts as well. Sometimes we also have PhD students who are going on field work, and they say, oh, well, my room's available for letting for 6 months. So that's often worked really well for ACES students in the past. Okay. When you get to Crete, Sophia, my equivalent at the University of Crete, she's very helpful in providing the similar kind of support and information as well. Again, renting privately in Crete. there's a wealth of apartments, flats, and at Nantes, the university often provides directly student accommodation, so that's very helpful as well. So there's a lot of staff with a who over the years since we've been running ACES has built up quite a wealth of information and contacts on the accommodation front. It's also sometimes it's not always easy. It can get a bit fraught, especially if we're dealing with a large cohort starting to arrive in Oban or at the first semester. But we've never had a student stranded. There's always been something.
That's great, Helen. And I hear the chimes in the background there telling me to finish off. I think if we very quickly just on that topic, I wonder if maybe Peter had any comments about your experiences with finding places to stay. If you've got any advice from the students' perspective on anything that really helped you out, or was it how did it go for you?
It's always tougher in the first semester. It's open, so because it's pretty small and it's the summer. But one thing I would say is the alumni can be very helpful. So one of the things I'm trying to do now is in the coming weeks, we're going to be putting an informational document. So all the information we have, all the contacts we have as regards accommodation in all of these places will be kept. And we want to make it a living document that will be updated. So the next cohort is, sort of like mandatory, try to put up updated documents and people, because we had that kind of document and it was helpful for us. So you get tips that people had used before. Sometimes it works. Yeah, it really works. And then using Facebook Marketplace, Airbnb. So there are a lot of options. It's usually more difficult in Oban. In Nantes, you get very nice accommodation. In Crete, it's a larger city, so there are more options. But just like Helen said, we haven't had any student that's stranded. It can be difficult, but at the end of the day, you will find somewhere. So
that's great. Thank you. Thank you so much, Peter. There's still questions coming in, and I'm really sorry. We're going to have to wind up because we're out of time now. We're past two. So I don't know if we're able to still just comment on them, if that'll stay live. But if you want to email, I put the email address. I put the email address on that chat function there, which is just aces@sams.ac.uk. So if we weren't able to answer your questions today, if you just pop a line, sorry, Helen, that will go to you, and Liz, I think. But if you pop your questions over to Helen and Liz on that email address, and they'll be able to answer that for you. But I just want to say a very big, massive thank you to everybody for joining. There's been lots of messages coming through here saying how fantastic the session has been, so that's lovely feedback. I'm going to email out some information to you all as well with some useful links, a quick little survey just so you can feedback on how the event went for you, and please do just get in touch if you have any questions, yes, thank you very much for joining, and good luck to everybody for whatever you go on to do in the future, if it's with us or in aquaculture. We're absolutely delighted that you could join us today. So I don't know if I can go around everyone and wave, but it'll be a wave from me. They are all waving. I'll put Liz on as a wee wave.
Thank you.
But thank you very much. Thank you.